Hello, everybody. This is Jack, and I'm your host for this little slideshow. First one is all about Mexico, the Rio Grande River. Well, the whole slideshow is about Mexico, but we went across the Rio Grande. You can see there, and there's a young man, a little Mexico boy on the Mexican side. He's fishing, and other people there were fishing, and then there were beggars. That's kind of a mark of that passageway as you do the walking traffic across the bridge from US to Mexico. The beggars are there prominently positioned, and there's the sign talking, showing the US and the Mexican side. People walking on their side, defying gravity there. Poverty side by side, and a lot of political stuff associated with this, especially with President Trump coming on board, indicating he wants to build a wall between our two countries. But there it is, some more beggars reaching through the fence there as we walk by, and people have a choice to give or not to give. I'm not sure if this is a plea for money or just a greed. I've been there several times, and the first few times, honestly, it really hit me. That sad begging, but I'm not sure. I just don't know what to make of it. And maybe I'm becoming jaded. Maybe it really is, but this giving, please give to me. Assuming we're all rich. Everybody else was rich except me and Lindley, of course. But the rest of these old people were, they had enough money to buy a cane. As you can see, some of them had canes. Another way Lindley defies gravity on her side. She looks rather happy. And there's the less clothed among us right there, and the less embodied. It speaks for itself. There's a young man. He was eating chocolate, and I wanted to bother him a little bit. These guys travel around. They like to sing and get tips. They go from restaurant to restaurant. We had a really nice restaurant recommended by a friend. Here's a guy that definitely wanted to dress me up in a poncho, and it says it's reversible, and his Spanish was really good, and my English is really good, but we didn't come to an agreement on the price. A lot of people like to drop the price, but they can't drop it far enough if you don't need it or don't want it. There's some housing. People were throwing water just all over the place. It was hot and dry. January, winter day, middle of January, but 84 degrees. 30 kilometers per hour, you got that sign. I can't resist signs. There's some real upscale real estate. This is the city of New Progress. It's Nuevo Progreso. Right there on the border, south of Progreso, Texas, which is somewhat south and east of McAllen, Texas, if you know where that is. If you don't, look it up on Google. Look it up on a map. Get yourself educated in the geographics of the world. There's some stuff that was kind of the hallways of. A lot of these places weren't occupied anymore. I'd been there 4 years earlier, back in 2013 in January, and a lot of these places are just kind of not occupied anymore. Now we're inside a gift shop, looking around and seeing some of the trinkets. I don't know what Lindley's looking at, but I can tell by the look on her face she doesn't have her reading glasses on. Who am I to talk? I'm getting older. I'm older than she is. There's a lot of souvenirs on this wall. You break, you pay. It's just, it's in English, so I guess they're talking to us, not to themselves. They assume the tourists are the ones breaking things, and they're probably correct. Piñatas, what would Mexican stores be like without a piñata or two or 10? There's some interesting birds hanging from the ceiling. I'm fascinated by birds, whether they're real or imagined or fake. Oso negro. This is like, is that red, black? Look at this guy. Smoked a peace pipe, buddy. Made out of wood. Upstairs restaurant. Very interesting atmosphere. A lot of the retirees there, tourists, retirees. Middle of the week. Middle of the day. There's some tile on the table. Pretty interesting, intricate stuff. Always a variety. This kind of reminds me of the DVD extras where the producer or the director or the actors are talking about the show as it's going. Lindley's pretending she's fascinated by a bottle of tequila as tall as she is, which isn't very tall, by the way. Why am I picking on Lindley? She's a beautiful woman. She'll slap me when she hears this. She's actually lurking in the background of the studio tonight and giving me the eye, one at a time, rolling her eyes at me, and I'm rolling them right back at her, by the way. She's not appreciating my humor tonight. There's a beggar. Lindley's recovering from a serious illness. This is Jesus times 10. What's more fun than a baby Jesus? 10 of them. Here's a couple of pot-bellied tourists with their beer bottles in hand. Well, more than a few beer bellies. More than a few beers. Mexico's all about beer and bellies, and probably in that order. Yeah, you can imagine the festivities, people drinking alcohol all day long. It's hard to get a good picture when you're smashed out of your brain. Of course, I wasn't drunk, but I was definitely watching people who were. I was amazed that somebody under 69 or 75 was actually in the area, so that was fun, seeing people younger than us. It's also nice to see a huge supply of things we don't need, but that are being marketed to the feverish pitch of a Mexican, and they love to push the money. They love to push the products, and they just give us all a sense of urgency when it comes to our purchasing decisions. Ground Zero Bar, Women's Pink Viagra, some of these signs are talking for themselves. You may or may not understand it. I certainly don't. There was pharmacies everywhere. They wanted to sell you every kind of drug imaginable. The pharmacies are discounted prices, and there's the kids. They love to play the games. And there's the vendor with the street vendor and all his goodies. We caught up with some of the kids. It was fun. We got to play a card game, Uno, with them, which I'm wondering if they call that game One. You'll realize that. Yeah, here's the street where most of the vendors are that have food products. He's bicycling along the dusty streets. Yep, back in the corners. We like to go a little beyond the touristy areas and see the real culture that they didn't necessarily plan for you to take a look at if you're visiting. There's some construction. There's me with my new cowboy hat. I bought it that day at $10. Started out at 18, went to 14, and I think he dropped it at 10 before I made my decision to buy. There's a little girl that we caught up with. Lindley's with her, playing Uno. There's her brother. He showed up and joined the game. It's the parents. There's the third child, their older brother. I drew some pictures of them and autographed them, let them write their names on the pictures, because I couldn't understand them. There's the parents, the dad and mom. They work at a barber shop, hair salon. So everybody's showing off their artwork that I gave them. Vinny's Happy Teeth. One of the interesting names of a bar, but in all fairness, Happy Teeth might go along with the theme, because that little bar is positioned right there in the middle of this garish-looking festival of dentists. That's right, almost everything on that little corner is dental related. Dentists, pharmacies, back massages, what else? Manicure, pedicure, haircut. Constantly calling out from every shop. They love to push the products and the services. It's the cactus. 80 some degrees in January. People milling about the street. Another day in paradise. Sometimes things get, there's a dentist sign. Things get a little bit hectic for the people that are trying to earn their living so desperately. There we are in an upstairs building. I just had to look down on the street and take a look. We'll show you some inside here too. Inside that building was a beautiful restaurant. There's some of the statues in the restaurant. I like statues, mannequins, Things that resemble something alive, but they're definitely not alive. That's what piques my strange fancy. I think Lindley's on her side there. Yep. Well, you can turn your head to the right if you want to get a crick in your neck. Watch these side slides. Go sideways. There we go, we're upright again. We're sitting up. Speaking of upright, Lindley was about to doze off at that very moment. I took her picture and startled her. Walking the hot, dusty streets got the best of my lovely lady. There's me without a sniper rifle, but definitely with a zoom lens if I wanted it. Nobody worth shooting that day. I mean, with a gun. I shot with a Canon, EOS Rebel. That's looking north towards the U.S. You can almost see our country from there. That's looking south. Looking east. Couldn't look west, wasn't a view. There's the north look on the corner there. You can see the cones for you to stop and get your car inspected before you leave the country. Of course, we were on foot that time. We did go out by vehicle. That's a little armless person, or well, they're not harmless, but they are armless. Yes, yes. Bad puns and ugly mannequins. That's my thing. There's the more beautiful. I really like the ones without clothes and arms, though. I'm kind of like the old ancient ruins of Greece, like the armless look. Lindley, if she was here to comment, she would be saying other things like, who am I kidding? She wouldn't be saying anything. She doesn't talk. I like that in a woman. There she is shopping. She is looking over the boots, and she wanted those boots. I think, unfortunately, those are not pesos. The prices are in dollars. That made me very sad. The signs there in this shop, well, yeah, there's some beautiful boots. They are worth it. They really are. 39 bucks. They have these hideous skeletons all dressed up. In the Latin culture, they celebrate the Day of the Dead, and they really get into the ancestor worship. They bring plates of food to the deceased relatives on the Day of the Dead. It's really over the top. There's some other pretty stuff. There's a disco ball collection, making the 70s proud. There's stuff you're not going to find at your Walmart in your everyday town in USA. They're easier to get pictures of than to buy, I tell you. They're not expensive. It's just, why would you want one of those? Alto, I love that picture. It shows the sun behind the cross. It's like, stop and look at Jesus. Sorry it was on its side. Too lazy to flip these upright. There's a lot of work to messing with these pictures, so I just let them flow the way they came off the camera card. There's an orange tree by the church, Escuela. There we go. Iglesia. I'm always calling it Escuela. School and church, they get me mixed up in the real world too. So never mind me. There's the church on its side. Church of the Sideways. There's the church. If you tilt your head to the right, you can actually see it the way it's intended to be. There's Jesus. Hello, Jesus. There's Mary. Hi, Mary. Very reverent. Some guy that was a janitor type. He let us in. He unlocked the door and let us look around. Just a couple of gringo tourists off the beaten path. We're looking at churches and everybody else is buying beer. So hey, tells you how holy we are. That's a pretty picture. Lindley was going to the bathroom while I was taking that picture. The bathroom, what was it, Lindley? Was it open? Was it just an open room? Just an open room. Old woman sitting there guarding it. I'm always intrigued by people in Mexico guarding public bathrooms. Like, I'm the attendant, and no one's around for hours. That kind of an attendant. There's a little church nearby, another one. Iglesia. She's cleaning that bathroom. There's the park. A lot of the trees are painted, I think to treat them from getting bugs or infestations. Painted white at the base. Dirty kids and dirty dogs, and they were everywhere. So here I am. I stepped in the the dog poop. Almost. Lady in the middle, his name's Norma. There's her kids. I was getting pictures, actually illustrating pictures as well, drawing them freehand and giving them out on pieces of my sketch pad. The kids were also receiving hand puppets that we were drawing faces on and handing out. There's a little one. It's fun to give little presents to the kids. Drawing the pictures. It's another day at the park. But a good day. I drew the dirt on that kid's face and everybody laughed. That little girl really liked seeing us. We bought those markers right before we got there, and we thought, the Dollar General, there won't be another one. We saw like 2 of them on the way, like just within a real short distance of the border. One more chance. Here, there's the tortilla maker. See all that flour and all that product in the background? Look at that big pile, and then they come flying off of the side there and stamp them out like a cookie cutter. This is some more vacant stuff. This was kind of sad. There's a pretty lady with her kids and her mom sitting outside the strip club where women dance, take their clothes off. I asked her what was going on, and she said her husband was inside as a customer. What a creep. There she is. Sideways. She had a baby. Just sitting there waiting for her husband. Like he's at the gas station. I'm rolling my eyes. You want to roll them right back to me? There's the sign back on the walking bridge back to the USA. Through the fence. There's the Rio Grande in the background. Guys, thanks for watching this. It's kind of an endurance test, I know, but hey, when in Mexico, do as the Romans do. Makes no sense. The border. Boundary of the United States of America. Límite de los Estados Unidos Mexicanos. There's the wall, my friend. What we have so far is a little wall. Hello, amigo. Adios. Hasta luego. Hasta la vista. Sun setting. Us leaving. One more look at Mexico before we go. All the stuff you have to go through. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. This is Jack. We're talking about 24/7 marriage. Don't ever leave your spouse in Mexico alone.